that you have, again, Hema talked about visibility. I just have one more thing to add to visibility. It's not so much that I did this job, but the fact that I left my stamp behind. I left my legacy behind in every role that I did. Believe me, you will get noticed. I don't think it is about a show of hand and the I that you need to trumpet yourself to get that role, as much as the legacy that follows your job. So to me, to summarize, that would be it.
May I add to that? So completely agree with everything Sunita said, and only to add to that, I would, while all of that is very important, so this is one area where women professionals can do several things. There is an aspiration deficit, and I think we need to work on it. Again, respecting people's choices of taking a break in their careers, or even off-ramping, as it's called, for whatever personal reasons needs to be respected, and that's all right. But still, I think we need to work on that aspiration piece of making it to the top. That's one. The equally important is this other one, and I'd like to just spend a minute or two on this, and that's this whole thing about asking for opportunities. I know that I'll be generalizing, and I don't mean to stereotype at all here, but men usually don't think twice about raising their hand and asking for that next job, for that next position, for the next project, for leading it, whereas women seem to think, by and large, there are exceptions to both rules, will say, oh, if my boss thinks I'm capable, he or she will nominate me, I don't need to ask for it, I'm sure I'll get noticed. Well, yes and no. To a point, you are noticed, but nobody's going to read your mind whether you want that next role, that next position. And let me just give you two quick examples, as it were, from my real life. One was, even in your personal lives, it plays out. When I got married many, many years ago, my husband and I started our married life and our careers in the US. He was already a postdoctoral student there. And he would put in long hours in the lab. He's a scientist. And I would put in, and I fortunately got a job for myself in Manhattan, and I would work there. And by the time I came commuting back to the Bronx where we lived, it was, 7 p.m., 8 p.m., and I was dog tired. And I would enter the kitchen, and my husband would take off his shoes and read the newspaper. And that would drive me nuts. It would really drive me mad. And I would say, hey, you've had a long day, I've had a long day, we both need dinner, how about pitching in? And then, sorry, the part of the story that really needs to be tweaked is, very soon, within a couple of weeks, I pulled on a long face, I was glum, I wasn't going to make conversation, I made it known that I was very upset and I was grumpy. And then he walked up to me and said, hey, what's the matter? Clearly something's bothering you, let's talk. And that's when I told him, you've had a long day, I've had a long day, how about, pitching in? And he said, sure. Did you ask me? And of course, my first thought was, why the hell do I have to ask? I mean, isn't it obvious that I've had a long day? But the point is, from that moment when I, actually it didn't still come naturally. But when I asked, help was forthcoming. Every time I asked, help, the support system was there. But I had to ask. That's the story about my personal life. At the workplace as well, my experience has been, unless I've asked for the next position and to get a promotion, I haven't gotten it. Now, was I not noticed? I was told by my manager at every step of the way, you're doing great, it's amazing, you're doing this, you're doing that, but the promotion wasn't talked about naturally. It wasn't talked about automatically. I had to ask for it. And every time I asked for it, pretty much every time I asked for it, I got it. So you've got to ask. But somehow women, I thought it's probably not just an Indian cultural thing. I've read enough research about it. Interestingly, it's a universal global phenomenon that cuts cultures and geographies, that women, it's been studied, hesitate to ask. So that's one big piece that I wanted to call out. And trust me, opportunities will come your way if you just ask.